And it's that Sunday again. Today we're back on the greatest podcast in my world, uh,
Yep.
the BNS podcast, which is just an amazing, amazing show that we spend do every Sunday. We've done it for the last 2 years, and you guys make this show rock. Without you, there's none of us. And so today, I have brought into the house a voice. Topic is the sound of music with the one and the only Isaac
Ding,
Gerald.
ding, 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 ding. Let's ring the bell.
What's up, buddy?
I am good, sir. How are you? So good to be here.
Thanks, Isaac. I just want to first of all thank you for serenading us the other day. You know, it was such a beautiful,
Yes, sir.
beautiful event. Your voice, your act, you're just something else, dude.
I
Uh,
appreciate it.
it's
Appreciate
and
that.
it's such a joy to listen to you sing and just get everyone on their feet. So kudos to what you do. But
Thank you.
let us dabble into other parts of your life. Before we do
Okay.
that, I just want to applaud you again for attempting to recently break the Guinness Book of Records. Tell us about that and what was behind that whole thing.
So first of all, even till the very moment I started, right?
Yeah.
My wife kept asking me, "We're really doing this," and I say, "Yes, we are," because I believe that the world there's millions of talented people out there. There's millions of people that can sing out there. But when you believe in yourself and you believe in a cause, right, you start to ask yourself, like, what am I going to do differently that nobody else has done, right? Um, and I was inspired. I like to believe that I was inspired by the Holy Spirit to, because I never thought about it before now. I never like imagined it. Of course, I had maybe like two like acquaintances, like two friends that have been a part of it, right? But like I've never thought about like a Guinness World Record. But then the inspiration came. I researched it. It was 105 hours by some Indian guy who did it in 2012. So that record has been in existence. It hasn't been broken since 2012. And I just thought to do it. And then what better way for than what better cause than for a cause that I believe in, that I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about music therapy for children living with autism,
Oh,
autism generally. And I thought, hey, it'd be nice to actually do this, for that cause, and just spread the word, get word out there. Where we come from, some people still believe that children with children on the spectrum are cursed, and they have it's the devil, they did something wrong, the parents did
right.
something
Yeah.
wrong. Yeah, so there's that stereotype that we need to break, and we need to speak on, you know what I mean? And so for me, it was just a case of, look, how are we going to, you know, it takes, exceptional people to actually get the attention of the world. And I can tell you that the amount of attention, this has brought, I don't know that I was 100% ready for it, but I'm grateful to God for it, because it has, helped me to talk more, shed more light on autism, and the need for music therapy. It's amazing the amount of people whose children are living with autism.
A
It is
lot of them.
amazing. Like this process literally just opened my eyes. I saw even celebrities sending me messages, say, "Hey, I have a niece, I have a nephew that is autistic, and thank you so much for shining the light," and all of that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, like, do we have that much people in the world who need to talk about this, and we're quiet about it? So it
Apparently.
was just a blessing for me to be able to shed put my talent behind something so important. So yeah.
Well, we're gonna double into that for a second, but you just brought up the whole issue of autism, and when it comes to that, I wake up because that's what I do for a living. It's my day job.
Yeah.
How I find myself here, only God knows. It's a story for another day altogether. I've told that story wherever I go. But you know that apparently 1 in 36 kids born in the United States are diagnosed with autism.
I,
One
s- I saw
in
that. I saw that statistic. I didn't want to believe it. I'm like, one
That
in
is that is so correct.
wow.
One in every 36 kids born in the United States today are diagnosed with autism, and we're working day and night with other collaborators to make sure that we get the word out. My biggest heart is for those of us on the African continent.
Exactly what I was going to say. You see how you could pull
Yeah,
up the say.
yeah,
So I have been able to pull up every statistic on autism in America,
mm,
but in Nigeria, like I can't even confidently say I have those stats, because you see one thing on this place, you see something else on another page. That's how lackadaisical they are about it in Africa.
yeah,
So of course I'm passionate about it in America because here's where I live, but I'm more worried about it in Nigeria as to
yeah,
how the government is now. We see them, they are renovating the White House, the Aso Rock, they
yeah.
are buying private jets for all of that, and I'm like, look, there's so much that can be done. They're taking loan upon loan for projects that never go or see or get seen, whereas they are so, like you said, we are passionate about this and we don't want to go into, we don't want to go into that debate, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Pretty
And
much.
the biggest challenge really is, yeah, the government has their own part in all over the world, right?
Yeah,
The biggest challenge I have in Africa is the lack of knowledge,
yeah,
the lack of awareness that is
yeah,
out there.
yeah.
In America, we've moved from awareness, we're now to the place of acceptance, and very soon we'll
And
find
inclusion is the goal.
an inclusion, right?
Yeah,
So, but in those parts of the world, especially like Africa, um, people are still in denial. That's number one.
yeah.
Because they're in denial, I have people that I know that are very close that have almost hid their kids behind closed doors.
Wow.
Literally, they've hid their kids with autism behind closed doors, and I think that's a detriment to
Yeah.
that child.
You should. I feel like you should go through some punishment, because
Now,
I've seen one that we for a long time I didn't even realize that he had a second child, right? And this one was even worse because they had two children. If it was just the only child and they hit the child, it would be different. But then the younger sibling knew that I have an older sibling that never comes out. It was for a long time, and then we just stumbled on the we heard the sound and we're like, oh, there's someone else, and then oh yeah, we never just bring him out and all of that. I'm like, what do you even mean?
yeah, yeah.
What do you even mean you don't bring, like, how?
It's one is because they don't know how to handle it. They don't know
Yeah.
what, and they haven't come to terms with it.
And
I
there's
think
also the stigma.
of course, because they don't know what it is, so they just so they misappropriate the energy that they should be using to empower that child to become
Yes.
one of the greatest people that lives on the planet of this earth.
Yeah.
They've used it for something else, and they've hid their gift away. They've hid their gift away. I know it's a challenge raising a child or a loved one who's on the spectrum.
Yeah.
I urge parents that early intervention is the key. At our last event, the fundraiser we had, immediately I got off stage from speaking about the issues and the passions that we had that day. Someone in that crowd walked up to me with tears in their eyes and said, I have a child, but no one in my crew, no one in my setup, no one amongst us here know that I have a son who's on the spectrum. I said,
Wow.
well, from today on, let them know because you have a blessing. And he said, my words have inspired and encouraged him. Gerald, we're not going to spend the whole day talking about
I
it.
was just gonna say we're about to go into an area of
It's another realm altogether.
Just gonna keep
Let's
going.
talk about this Guinness Books of Record. You said the last guy did 105 in
Yeah.
2012. What was yours? How far did you go?
So I was aiming to break it for 110 hours, but unfortunately I had a medical emergency at 98 hours. Actually,
Wow.
they say I should do undermine in 98 hours and 26 minutes. I had a medical emergency. I had to be rushed to the ER. I mean, I was mad because I'm like, yo, I just want to keep singing, and that's why it's a blessing to be able to have a team that is very proactive, right? The moment they saw the extreme situation, they were able to catch it and like, okay, we need to pull you out now, because at the end of the day, being alive is more important than breaking the record.
Of course.
So and you know that as men sometimes we're like, yo, let's just rough it. Let me just because for like the first 2 days after, I was mad at my team, like, yo, you guys should have just helped me to just go ahead. And they're like, look, I literally had to sit with the therapist before I realized the gravity of the situation and the how intense it was, and then I saw some videos also, and then I'm grateful that we're able to catch it on time. My first thoughts were, oh shoot, but no matter how bad it is, you didn't finish. But I realized that
No,
that's not
no,
all about. The fact that I was able to, first of all, get up and go and
that's
start,
correct.
right?
That's
I applaud myself. The fact that I was also able to go, because trust me, the first 24 and maybe 36 hours were the most difficult, because at that point, at the 24-hour mark, there's a video. I keep laughing at myself every time I see that video. So on the when they were counting down to 24 hours, everyone around was excited. I was just here like, yo, how do I tell these people I'm not doing this thing again? What was I thinking? Because I was, I stretched myself to a limit that I didn't think I could, but I was reminded why. I was once again reminded of how, the importance of this for me, because they brought my godchild to me. Like literally, she walked in on like right in that moment, and she smiled. She saw me and she smiled at me, and I'm reminded again, like, look, you're not just doing this for yourself. You're doing this for a cause. You're doing this for something that you're absolutely passionate about, and so those reminders and those pointers, were things that kept me going, and I'm grateful that I got that far. I know you're going to get there, so let's answer it real quick. Am I going to do it again? My fingers are crossed, right? My team and I, we are going through the motion to be sure that if we're going to do it again, everything is going to be in place. So when it's time to announce if we're doing it again or not, I'll definitely be glad to come on BNS to talk
right.
about it. And
Well done, buddy.
yes, sir.
Kudos to you.
Thank you.
98 hours is no joke. Trust
Nah,
me.
sir. It's
And
without sleep.
like the good book would say, a living dog is
It's
better
better
than
than
is
dead
better
lion.
than a dead lion. So we're
Yeah.
glad to have you
Yes, sir.
here with us. Let's talk about Isaac.
Yes, sir.
Who is Isaac, the child? What was life like growing up?
So I was a happy child. First of all, I'm a church boy. It's funny that people always say, "Oh, but you say you're a church boy, but you don't do gospel music." Well, I'm a Christian, and I'm an artist, right? So I'm not a gospel artist, but I'm a Christian, right? So the message I carry is my life and how I live my life, right? Now, I sing love songs. I sing at weddings. I sing at private events. I sing at birthdays and all of that, and God is the real source of love. So it's my own love song you should even like, because you know that it's coming from a pure place. It's coming from the origin of love in itself, right? And that was a very hard stereotype to break, especially in Nigeria where I grew up. A lot of people are like, how can you be a church boy and you're trying to, go outside and be singing love songs and stuff like that? But essentially, it's my assignment, right? So fast backtrack to
Church
20.
boy. What do you mean by church boy? You grew up in the church?
I grew up in church all my life. I'm still in church. I'm still a worship leader in church, right? I mean, you can attest to House on the Rock, all of that way back when. I've always been a church boy. I've always been in choir. I've always, led worship in church and all of that. And trust me, there are a lot of stereotypes in Nigeria that we need to break. I hope that I mean, things are getting better with our generation, right? But there are a lot of stereotypes. So the fact that you grew up in church, you have to be doing this. But that's not my assignment, right? So what? Are you a gospel lawyer? Are you a gospel doctor? You know what I mean? There's all of those things to talk about. And so 2011, I went on Project Fame West Africa, which was the biggest reality TV show in Nigeria back in the days. And then I didn't win. Unfortunately, I came out sixth. But a lot of people always thought I won because of how hard I pushed. Look, I'm a firm believer in once God has put something in you, that's wrong with it, right? And so 2011 that happened. Right after then, I feel like that was my major introduction to mainstream music, because at that point, I started doing all the amazing things, all the amazing things that are happening now pretty much was birthed from that experience. Growing up, I used to sing. I have three other siblings. We all used to sing in church and stuff like that. But at some point in time, everybody else left to go and pursue money. I stuck it with the music. And so I've been singing. I pretty much have been singing for like since I can remember, since I was.
So where does the inspiration come from?
Truthfully, I say it comes from God, but that's the broad answer, right? But inspiration to write my music comes from anywhere, honestly. And I can see something or an issue comes to mind, or like I use other people's experiences, to write music as well. My latest album, right, is called Chocolate and Pajamas. I put that out in April, and the inspiration for that pretty much came from, I'm a lover boy, right? I like to create beautiful memories, especially with couples, and yeah, and so I say that gently because a lot of people are like, oh, so it's only couples that can come for your show and stuff. No, um, I also preach self love because you can't give what you don't have.
Of
Do you
course, I
understand?
agree with you.
So I always tell people, if you're single, enjoy the moment, love yourself enough till your partner comes, and that's how you're able to give good love. You can't give what you don't have, right? That's your moment to connect with God. That's your moment to build yourself, build your life, build to a point where learn. Enjoy the moment. That's the moment where you can up and travel. Right now I have a wife and two kids. My life is literally scheduled. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Look at how hard it was to get like a moment.
I completely understand that. How old are your kids?
My kid, there's 6 and 4, right?
But you're on your own.
Uh no, no, no. Look,
I know,
at this point,
I know exactly where you are,
uh, look,
and I don't want to go. I don't want to go back there.
no, no, no. Please don't, because like at this point,
It's all about them.
you don't have a life, right? You don't have a life. You don't have nothing. It's all just very, very, daddy, I want this, daddy,
Yeah,
this. You know what I mean? And everything is just pretty much centered around, um, everything is pretty much centered around what you can do and how you can. It's just a lot, right? But
wow.
I'm grateful to have been committed to amazing boys, right? Full of energy, but absolutely smart. The other day my son was saying, "Daddy, do you know that there are 5,000 species of potatoes?" I'm like, "No, what do you mean? There's just sweet potato and Irish potato." And it's like, "No, Daddy, let's ask Alexa." He's 6 years old. He was 5 at the time. And then we're like, "Okay, Alexa, how many potatoes are there?" And Alexa is like, "Oh, there are 5,000." I'm like, "How'd you know that?"
Wow.
But absolutely smart. It's
I
just,
didn't know that. I bet you my audience didn't know that.
oh, well, so
If you knew about that number, say amen on this chat.
exactly, exactly. I bet a lot of people didn't know. So that's how amazingly smart they are. I mean, funny, a lot of people have asked, "Oh, do you have kids that are autistic?" No, I don't, but I have nephews that are, and I know how smart they are, right? So one of my nephews, who is, every time he comes to my house, literally the first place he goes to the keyboard, and he's playing the keyboard and he's doing all of that. It's just how they connect to music and how they connect to life, in a very special way, right? But I said all of that to say that, look, I'm blessed to have the life that I have. I'm grateful. On some days you wish you had more time. You know what I mean? On some days I wish I would sleep and not at 2 a.m. here. Daddy, I want to pee. Go pee, buddy. Why are you coming to me?
Isaac, we're going to take a break in a minute, and then when we come back, we'll talk about the power of music itself, areas where your passion, and some of the work you're actually doing. Okay?
Yeah. All
We'll
right,
be back on Broken Not Shattered. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming to join us again on this session. We're going to take a short break, and then we'll be back with Isaac Gerald, uh, the songwriter, the musician, performer, and definitely an advocate for autism.
sir.
Just hang in there. We'll be back in a few minutes. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My guest today is Isaac Gerald. We've had a great conversation talking about his work with advocating for autism, and most importantly, what he had just done recently, which is trying to break the Guinness Book of Records. And we are saying kudos to you, buddy, that you try again and you will accomplish it.
Thank you,
Let's
sir.
talk about music
Yes, sir.
generally, the power of music and the sound of music.
Yeah.
How important is music to us in today's world?
So I feel like one of the most underrated or undermined things in today's world is music, because people don't realize how much music plays in life and in creating atmospheres, creating emotions, and creating moods, right? It's as simple as you're sad, or you simple, you have a feeling you can't peg, or you can't put a pin on. If you listen to sad music, it can throw you into the sad realm, right? If you listen to happy music, it can throw you into the happy realm, right? If you listen to heartbreak music, it can, your mind will start to connect things that, put your heart in a place of heartbreak. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Completely understand.
Exactly. The other thing that people don't realize is that the importance of music in the spiritual world. Now I say spiritual, not Christian, because Christianity is one of the
Right.
expressions of spirituality, right? In a spiritual world, the devil uses music, right? I was in Bible study yesterday, and they were talking about how, the devil had been a major part of worship. The devil has experienced God's glory in the worship space and experienced that. But guess what? People don't realize that it's that same devil that had all that access to the power of music that is still the enemy right now. Do you understand? So he's obviously using music is one of the major custodians and major that is one of the tools that shapes culture and shapes people's
That's
lives.
exactly what I was going to
You know
say.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So the importance of music in itself, I feel like a lot of people. There was a time when growing up, they used to say, "Oh, don't listen to secular music," and it made sense at the time, because really you discovered that things that you didn't think you could know, it was the music was sipping it into your spirit, and you just realize that. I don't know if it has happened to anybody, maybe because I'm a music person, but I have to find some type of music with music, because yet a line from a particular song, especially the bad line or the line you're not supposed to sing,
Yeah.
sticks. And then you just to be like, shoot, how do I get this thing out of my head? I have to start fighting it with good music. Literally, like, if sometimes I'm like, okay, I have to keep singing it vocally, keep reminding myself to say those words over and over again. So, and how important music is. Sometimes when you're trying to learn something and you don't know how to learn it, put it in a song and it
Right.
sticks. You know what I mean? So music is music is life.
Yeah.
Literally,
I,
music.
I, I agree with you. It's therapeutic. It's life. It's power. There's a lot of
Yes.
power in music. I read something years ago that during Christmas, when you hear those songs, the jingle bells and all that stuff, that stores play those songs so that it goes into the psyche of the consumer,
Yes.
and it
Yes.
triggers something in you to spend and buy and spend
Yes,
and
sir.
buy. It puts you in
Yes,
a
sir.
happy mood, and you just want to buy and shop and shop and shop until you
Yes,
go
sir.
broke. So
Yes, sir.
that's a good one. I've also known personally that back in the day when I was much younger, believe it or not, used to be a bad boy, very bad boy. The kind of music I used
I
to
believe it. I believe it. Not. I believe it. I'm just messing around.
yeah, and so you were using those very hard, aggressive, violent songs, it triggers up some emotions in you, and you
Yeah.
just want to go out to the streets and say, hey, you know what, I can take the world, and you start acting literally
Crazy.
dumb and silly.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
the power of music. And in the
Yes.
same way, music can be very therapeutic. It can
Yeah.
be very calming. When I
Yeah.
play my jazz in my house, my atmosphere in my home just relaxes. You
Yeah.
know, if you're in my car and I'm playing worship,
Yes.
especially my Hillsong kind of music, very contemporary gospel
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
Uh, it's very uplifting. If I
Yes.
go to Nathaniel Bassi, for instance, and I start listening to his music, it breaks down something.
You just start to pray. You don't
Yeah,
even realize it. You
start
just
speaking in tongues without even realizing.
yes,
So
yes,
there's a
yes,
power, there's a spirit in music,
yeah,
and it's very powerful. I advocate that our young ones listen to songs that are uplifting. My
yes.
daughter was telling me that her struggle is that she likes the beat. She likes the beat. It's the lyrics and the beat that's the problem for her.
But they don't know that that's what they do. They
I
use
said,
music to get
that,
you there.
yes. I
Because a
said,
lot of people don't
I
even
said,
realize.
it's just like putting ham inside the sandwich, and you don't eat meat. So
You
it's the
don't
same
even realize
concept.
that you're just eating a whole
Yes,
slice of.
yes,
You're like, oh, I
you're
don't eat
taking the
this.
words out. I know. I told her, don't worry. Daddy has been through that struggle himself, and he can
Yeah.
overcome it. Then you can also overcome it. Man, it's been a joy talking to you. Let's do this. I know people back around are giving me a lot of hassle, and we've got about 6 more minutes to go. I can hear my team saying, "Okay, get him to sing, get him to sing, get him to sing." All right. So we've talked about areas where you're passionate about, and we're going to talk more about them. And we're going to
Yeah.
But before we go into what's coming up next with ISAAC Gerald, ISAAC, let's get a song or two from you, please. Teddy Pendergrass, any Teddy Pendergrass?
That's the person I was just gonna say people should type what song they want to hear.
That's what I'm saying. Someone just said to me Teddy Pendergrass. That's what I said. Like people are on my case. They just said to me Teddy, ask me to see Teddy Pendergrass. When you said love is music and music is love. I said, okay.
I know. So one of the things I do is at like events, I ask people what song you want to hear, and it's something called a la carte music. I just say I don't even know how I know all the songs in my head, but it's just that Teddy Pendergrass. It's so good to be loving somebody and that somebody loves you back. Yeah, to be loved and be loved in return is the only thing that my heart desires.
Woo! All right. I like that. Talk about a 50-50 love.
50-50 love. Listen.
It's in the 70-30.
No, not 70-30.
Or 60-40.
Not 60-40. We're talking 50-50 love. It has to be equal, yo. Bring your best foot forward, I'll bring my best foot forward. But in reality, we're not talking today, it's not marriage or relationship, but in reality, it never really happens like that.
There's no 50-50 love. It's impossible.
There's no 50-50 love anyway.
You go wet tire.
You go where you don't go see. Yeah. Listen,
you go wet tire.
I'm not even married that long, but I know. You know what I mean? I've been married for 7 years. It's going to be 8 years. I know that there's nothing like 50-50 love.
No, man. Just like you said, people can't give what they don't have.
Yes,
when you meet someone, I always tell folks this thing, and this is so true. I know this is not what we're talking about today. Most of the time, the person you marry or the person you're dating is not the adult. It's the child.
Wow.
It's the child.
Wow.
It's the child in them that you're dating. It's the child in them that you're marrying.
Wow.
You always want to check, if you can, have conversations and find out what was your upbringing like. What was your childhood like? What was your formation years like? Because how was home when you were growing up? If you came from a dysfunctional home, the chances are that child is still inside of you dealing with that dysfunction.
True.
And if they don't get any kind of therapy or any kind of help, right? What's going to happen is
that's what's going to keep manifesting.
That child will keep on showing up in the relationship, and you're wondering what is going on with this adult man or what is going on with this adult woman. Guy, you just are dating the child. If the child was abused emotionally or physically,
it's going to come back out. It's going to come back out.
You're wondering, why is this person like this? What are these? Because the small triggers.
So my question for you is, what we can't change people's childhood, right? We can't change the past. Correct. Some people have gotten into relationships that didn't realize what they were getting into. So you're here now, right? We don't advocate, a split or a breakup or anything. How do you manage it's someone's past that you can't come to terms with?
Well, what you do basically is you start with you, right? How you respond or react, and this is just based out of experience. Take it from a man who's been divorced, right? So how do you respond to this? You can't change the individual. So you have to make choices. Now I know better. Then I didn't know better, right? So now I know better. You have to make choices. And those choices are how you choose to navigate that relationship with that individual. Right? If she's cold, for instance, and she can't express herself, that is where she came from. You have to make a choice and see the good in her, where maybe there's another area of her life where she can't do that. Then you make up for the area where she cannot express herself. You be the one expressing for the family. You be the one trying. It's not easy. Don't get it wrong.
I was just gonna say.
It's not easy. I'm not talking about a walk in the park here.
Yeah.
Right? It requires a lot of patience, and relationship is all about commitment. It's not about love. See, you can love today and you will not love tomorrow.
True.
But if you have a friendship and a commitment,
love, I always say love is a decision and not a feeling.
Yes, it's a choice you have. It's a choice you have to make, Isaac. You just have to say to yourself, you know what, I'm gonna hang in here and try and do as much as I can. Sometimes you've done your best, but if the person you're dealing with is toxic and is wiping your entire life away, man, you come first.
I have a question because a friend of mine, I'm sorry, I know we're not talking today, no relationship.
That's why maybe that's what we're supposed to talk about. And we don't want to spend the time. Go ahead.
A friend of mine was asking me, he said, when do I know when I've come to the end of myself, or how much I can go? Because he's been on it for a very long time. My wife can testify, because the point where a man gets to where he can actually speak, right, is that it has come to the point for the man. And he's like, look, Isaac, how far can I hold on till I can say, oh, I've done everything I can and I can't take it anymore? Because as Christians, we don't advocate divorce, but I'm a big fan of, for me, what I said was, look, the moment there's violence, you already know that it's a no, because at that point, life is attached to it. Now, we've grown to understand that life can be taken not only through violence. There's the mental, part of a man that breaks down to a point where you're like, okay, what am I doing? How am I? I've had in like 2 or 3 months, I've had about 2 friends, 2 men, commit suicide, right? Because they're like, look, I'm tired. I can't seem to get a hang of it. One of it was life hardship. The other was a relationship burden, right? And so when this friend of mine was talking, I decided to take it serious, because at what point do you know when you can't take it anymore?
My answer to that is in twofold. At what point do you realize you've taken too much poison? How much poison will kill you? You just know. You just know. You're built in a way that you just know that you cannot take this.
And unfortunately, they love each other. That's the painful part for me, because
you see, sometimes what we call love might not be love, right? So you could be codependent, and you're calling it love. Check scripture. Where there's love, there's peace, right? There's respect, right? There's care, there's protection. Protection, it means you're protecting the husband is protecting the wife. If you're slandering your husband all over the place, that's not love, that's not respect. If you're beating your wife, that's not love, that's not respect. So at the end of the day, Isaac, you will just know that this is not working. Now, you might not choose to divorce. Just separate, detach yourself for a minute, then seek help.
Is that allowed?
Of course it's allowed.
Without so let's separate, let's live separately.
No, even if you don't live separately, nobody's advocating for immorality here. We're talking about life itself, okay? And this is where the church gets it wrong most of the time. You just may need to find a way to just detach yourself for a moment. Everybody just cool off. Have your cool off period so you can assess yourself and then assess the relationship.
So the cool-off period, is this supposed to be, are they still supposed to be living under the same roof? Because I'm afraid
every situation is different.
I'm afraid if I give this dude the cool-off option, he's gonna be like, I will take it.
Yeah, but if you give him the cool-off option, he takes it, then that means he wasn't meant to be, right? So he's struggling. So if you're into it together, you just find a way to cool off, detach yourself, and cool off.
I agree with
and then
you.
Ask yourself questions, because when you're by yourself, you start to ask yourself some serious questions. The drama, the clouding, the voices, the tension calms down, and you ask yourself, do I want to revisit it? And then if both people are serious, then they will seek help. Go to counseling. Go to counseling in church, go to counseling out of church or your place of faith, wherever it is.
I prefer counseling out of church. I feel like church counseling could be biased sometimes. You know what I mean? It takes a level of.
I can't publicly say that because I have other responsibilities. But yeah.
You can't, but I can because.
I can tell you that sometimes, because not all pastors know what to do.
Yes, not all pastors are counselors.
Because you're a pastor, you're a leader of a faith-based organization does not mean you're qualified to actually go there. If I can't come to him for surgery or I can't come to him to pull out my tooth, then when it comes to certain things, I don't have to go to that particular individual. You can share with them for spiritual guidance and counseling and counseling. But if you need therapy, find a professional.
Find a professional therapist. I agree with you, but I know that I know that that's it. I know we need to go, but I was just going to say that I feel like, again, God is probably leading us in this direction because somebody needs to hear this. I was telling my wife this morning, I feel like the biggest challenge in every marriage is communication, right?
Big.
Communication, because, and it's not just talking, but communicating, right?
Yes.
And the prayer that I always pray in my private time. I have friends that I pray with. I always pray. I say, God, mend the communication bridge in our marriage and our relationships. Let us talk to each other and let us hear each other. That's a very big prayer that I always pray, not just for my wife, but also like my friends, my siblings, and everything. Because the moment we can communicate and hear each other, we will be able to come up with solutions. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
I completely agree with you. And for us to be better communicators, certain personality traits have to be put in place. You have to be a good listener, right? So
True.
God gave us two ears and one mouth. You have to
Yeah.
be able to listen better, right? Not
Mm.
hear, listen. When you're hearing, you're like, keep on talking. I know what I want to respond to you because you're not, you're right.
And listening to respond.
Exactly. You want to listen to feel the message the person is. Then the communicator, right, has to focus on what the essence of the
Issue is, yeah,
conversation is. Don't
yeah.
start bringing back what happened 15, 20 years ago, right?
At
Just
exactly 7 p.m. on
yeah,
the 19th
let's
of
go
June,
with that. Stick
2001.
stick to the conversation, right? And make sure that the focus is not to destroy the other person or undermine them, but the focus is to empower them and enable them to go along with the journey of that relationship. Isaac, we can talk about this all day, all night. Maybe I'll bring you back for another show. But
Please.
I want to talk about one more thing, and then we're gonna or two more things we're gonna wrap up. I know I've crossed over. My folks are telling me we've gone over, but hey, guys, I don't always go over, so let's just
No,
chill and
let's enjoy.
enjoy this great guy. You now live in the United States. You left Nigeria,
Yes,
part of
sir.
the Japa syndrome. What made you get out of the country? Why are you here? And what do you say to those who want to get out?
I've,
Speak up. Take a
unfortunately,
minute.
unfortunately, I've been here long before the Jackpot syndrome started, right? I remember when I got the leading to move, it was against everything I thought, right? Because I was building a good career for myself in Nigeria, and it was the moment where I was really starting to pick up, right? So leaving all of that and coming to start afresh, it had to be God convincing me and everything, pushing me in that direction. So one, I moved much before the jackpot syndrome, and two, it only made sense that I'm here. I'm in the place of my purpose, right? The moment God says, "Hey, get up and go," I want to have no conversation, no question. I miss Nigeria a lot. Trust me. I miss the food. I miss the people. Of course, I'm not happy about the state of the country, right? But wherever I am planted, I know that I have provision there, and God is going to look out for me. So
and
wherever God
and
says,
he always does. You have an event coming up soon. Take
yes,
a
sir.
minute, talk about the event and what's the passion behind it. We're running out of time.
On the 19th of July, I'm having the Isaac Gerald's experience. So again, I'm a Christian artist. I'm not a gospel artist. So my part of my mission is I'm a conduit of joy. I spread joy. I spark beautiful memories, especially among couples, and also I advocate for self-love. Right. So my music pretty much is smooth in a serene atmosphere. Husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, or just you by yourself want to come enjoy good music, enjoy good food. It also happens to be my birthday on the 17th of July,
Oh,
which is
wow.
2 days before. So on the 19th of July, I'm having something I call the Isaac Gerald's experience. Live music, good food. It's in the Carlisle Room in DC. Come through. Tickets.
Where's it taking place?
It's on the 19th of July, next week, Friday, right?
Okay.
It's tickets are $25 and $50, and then there's tables. Just hit me up, follow me on Instagram, shoot me an email.
Where can folks find you to get tickets if they want
Find
to?
me everywhere on all social media platforms. I'm at Isaac Gerald, ISAACGERALD. On all platforms. My website is it's isaacgeralds.com.
Wow.
Find me and let's make amazing
Isaac,
memories.
Isaac, thank you so much.
Thank you so much
Um,
for having
Look
me.
into the camera, take 1 minute, and just tell someone out there something that you passionately believe in to make
Mm.
the difference in their life.
So I believe 100% in God, and I believe that God is the game changer, not as religion but as relationship. Because
Correct.
a lot of people have been fed the BS of, oh, you have to do this, do like this. Look, I crossed the line of religion into relationship with God, and my life has changed forever, right? A lot of people feed you stereotypes, people feed you off their face. Like we said, is people will teach you out of the abundance that they have. So seek to know God for yourself, and then your life will change. That much.
Wow, you couldn't have said it better, my man. Thank you so much for coming on to the Broken Not Shattered BNS podcast.
Thank you.
Please, if you're out there, like us, follow Gerald, and also follow us. And Gerald, tell all your followers to follow us. So,
I got you. I did it. I made a video. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
Okay, I'm gonna send you a video when I finish this. I have a video of you from that event.
Yes,
You were just mesmerizing everyone. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna wrap up the show in our famous 3 words: love, peace, and more grace. See you guys next week. Love you, Gerald. Take care.
All right, sir. Bye.